It's hardly an insult to say Donald Trump has a big mouth. It's a truth even his most ardent supporters acknowledge. For years, what he's said has often caused trouble. 2 weeks ago, US media accused the former president of leaking classified information about America's submarine fleet to Australian billionaire Anthony Pratt. Trump denies any secrets were disclosed. But tonight, we have our own leak. In this joint investigation with the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, 60 Minutes has obtained audio recordings of Anthony Pratt. They reveal the businessman's extraordinary dealings with Trump and a whole lot more. The Mar-a-Lago resort and private club in Palm Beach, Florida, oozes excess. For owner Donald Trump, it's the epitome of luxury, the perfect place to wine and dine business elites who share his views.
This country's blessed with entrepreneurial spirit.
People like Australian Anthony Pratt, who sits third on our rich list and joined the ritzy club in 2017.
God bless America, the greatest country on earth.
Pratt's worth $24 billion, so the $200,000 Mar-a-Lago membership fee was nothing. But the access it brought, a friendship with Trump, was priceless.
We're here to celebrate a great opening and a great gentleman, as you know, from Australia, Anthony Pratt.
In 2019, as the Australian billionaire expanded his cardboard packaging and recycling business at a new paper mill in the US, then President Trump turned up and dialed in the charm.
Anthony is one of the most successful men in the world. Perhaps Australia's most successful man, as they say, right?
They might have been an unlikely pair, but for most observers, the relationship between Pratt and Trump was largely unremarkable. That is, until 2 weeks ago, when the American ABC network reported something strange.
Former president shared potentially sensitive information about America's nuclear submarines while at Mar-a-Lago.
Donald Trump was accused of not being able to shut up in the months after he left the White House, allegedly disclosing classified information about America's nuclear submarine fleet to his Aussie friend.
In all, Pratt described what the former president had told him with at least 45 others, including 6 journalists, 11 of his company's employees, 10 Australian officials, and 3 former Australian prime ministers.
In typical fashion, when the news broke, Trump denied any wrongdoing. But tonight, there's a startling twist.
So he's got this ability to say outrageous things, non-stop.
We've obtained secret recordings which reveal what Anthony Pratt thought about Donald Trump during his tenure in the Oval Office and what Trump thought about the world.
He's outrageous. He just says whatever the he wants, and he loves to shock people.
It's clear from the tapes Pratt believed Trump loved to brag, and it seems no subject was off limits. Pratt describes a conversation he had with the president in late 2019, shortly after the commander-in-chief had ordered a military strike against Iraq.
I hadn't even heard it. It hadn't even been on the news yet. He said, I just bombed Iraq today.
According to Pratt, even after that, Trump wouldn't be quiet. He went on to repeat details of the private phone call he just had with a furious Iraqi leader.
He said, I just bombed Iraq today. And the president of Iraq called me up and said, you just leveled my city. And he said, and I said to him, okay, what are you going to do about it?
Are you surprised that Anthony Pratt got such access to President Trump?
I think Trump was trying to impress him. Well, you may be a billionaire, but I'm a multi-billionaire, and besides, I'm president, and I know things that you don't. I do think that's very typical Trump behavior.
Donald Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, is disappointed but not surprised. His old boss might have shared non-public information about military action or the private response from Iraq's leader. But he says it was stupid and potentially dangerous.
Well, if the disclosure is after the event has taken place, nonetheless, there may still be operational reasons as pilots or personnel on the ground get out of danger. And that's why the announcement of military strikes often is delayed for some period of time so that we can be sure that those who carried it out are back safe home.
In another conversation, Pratt says Trump told him about an infamous phone call he made to the leader of Ukraine. He wanted President Zelensky to investigate the foreign business dealings of Joe Biden's son Hunter in the hope of causing harm to his political rival. Trump's boast was that he could and should have been much tougher.
Yeah, and Trump said, you know, that Ukraine phone call, that was nothing compared to what I usually do. And he said, that Ukraine phone call, that's nothing compared to what we usually talk about.
So who is this Australian businessman? He's billionaire and, oh my Lord. It looks like they made his hair out of Trump's face and Trump's hair out of his face.
When the stories alleging Trump had leaked classified information to Pratt were first broadcast a few weeks ago, both men were ridiculed.
Authorities were afraid that Pratt might have told someone else, but he didn't. He didn't tell someone else. He told some 45 else.
But John Bolton says it's the former president, often disparagingly known as the leaker-in-chief, who is solely responsible.
Trump doesn't have a filter between his brain and his mouth, and so the concern that he would reveal classified information to a foreigner, even an ally, but a private citizen, struck many people as entirely believable.
Disclosing details of conversations with foreign leaders to an Australian billionaire, could that ever be appropriate?
Well, the president can basically say whatever he wants to anybody and can declassify classified information. It's a question not so much of illegality as of prudence and competence to be president. And I think when you add all of that up over a 4-year period, it could be very substantially damaging.
For such supposedly good buddies, though, the secret recordings we've uncovered reveal frustrations in the relationship. On the tapes, Anthony Pratt admires Trump's ruthlessness while savaging his ethics.
He knows exactly what to say and what not to say so that he avoids jail, but gets so close to it that it looks to everyone like he's breaking the law. Like, he won't go up to someone and say, I want you to kill someone. He'll send someone to tell someone to kill someone.
Trump has long been a show-off, but if Pratt is to be believed, he often took things too far when it came to his wife, Melania.
Melania, who was sitting next to him at dinner, he said, I asked Melania to walk around the pool in a bikini so all the other guys could get a look at what they were missing. Then Melania said back to him, I'll do that when you walk around with me in your bikini.
It certainly confirms for us and reminds us that Donald Trump is quite happy to demean his own wife in front of other people. And is that the character that you really want in your next president?
Political and international editor at the Sydney Morning Herald, Peter Harcher, says with Donald Trump running again for president, the Pratt tapes could play a role in the debate about his candidacy. Do you think releasing the audio of this tape is in the public interest?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it's in the public interest to know what the former US president, potential future US president once again, how he conducts himself, his relationships with business people, his relationship with a particular Australian business person.
I think those of us who believe in the Constitution, believe that Trump is an aberration, a departure, a unique departure that we hope never comes again.
They're strong words from John Bolton, but they ignore Donald Trump's massive support in the United States. It's a following that's fueled by people like Rudy Giuliani.
Wow!
Who, as you'll see, is another controversial American Anthony Pratt has been trying to impress. You're laughing. Why the reaction?
Well, it's a reaction of dismay, really.
Make America great again.
During Donald Trump's tumultuous years as the commander-in-chief, one of his biggest supporters was Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know what you need to wake you up.
The larger-than-life former mayor of New York was Trump's personal lawyer.
Wow!
Not surprisingly, Australian billionaire Anthony Pratt cultivated a friendship with the Speaker-in-Chief. In early 2020, Giuliani was invited to be a special guest at Pratt's 60th birthday in Melbourne. And to ease the pain of a long trip, he was made an offer he couldn't refuse.
Cut a long story short, I paid him about $1 million to come out like as a celebrity guest, and didn't happen, so now he rings me once a week.
Secret tape recordings we've obtained reveal COVID spoiled Anthony Pratt's birthday wish. The normally serious former National Security Advisor, John Bolton, finds the whole story bemusing. Mr. Pratt has boasted about paying Rudy Giuliani near $1 million to appear at his birthday party. You're laughing. Why the reaction?
Well, it's a reaction of dismay, really. Not surprising, but it's just hard to describe. Number one, that anybody would offer something like that, and maybe two, not so surprising, Rudy would take it, but not appropriate for a friend of the president to be doing that, because that subjects the president to the accusation that his advisors, even though they're in the private sector, are being paid for access to him as president.
Thank you.
What makes these tape recordings all the more remarkable is they provide clues about the way Anthony Pratt wields influence.
Rudy is someone that I hope will be useful one day. Plus, I just think he's cool. It's not all just sort of like seat of the pants shit. I think that him and Rudy are like that, and they're plotting all this out.
But Pratt's not stupid. He knows he must be careful in his dealings with Trump and Giuliani.
All of these guys are like the mafia. Trump, Rupert, Rudy. You want to be a customer, not a competitor.
This comparison to the mafia, though, I mean, it's an extraordinary line. Is there a ring of truth to it?
Well, I think Trump often talks like a mafioso in the sense of, he doesn't commit extortion. He says, nice little business you got here. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it.
The secret recordings show Anthony Pratt's web of influence isn't confined to the United States. The billionaire has long been known to donate to King Charles's charities. But what's less known is why.
What I'm trying to do is to network with people that can be useful.
This is Pratt candidly explaining his relationship with the soon-to-be king. It's unclear, however, who bows to whom.
Prince Charles said, when he introduced me to Camilla, he's been very useful. And I thought, well, that's an insult. But then I thought, oh no, it's been being irrelevant. My superpower is that I'm rich. So I'm useful to him, right? I see him as an undervalued political stock because he's about to be king. It's just that he's a laughing stock now. But when he's king, they won't be laughing.
Back in Australia, Anthony Pratt has also worked hard cultivating political heavyweights. Internal company documents list consultant payments to ex-Prime Minister Paul Keating of $25,000 a month and to former PM Tony Abbott of $8,000 a month. Mr. Keating told us his decade-long stint as a consultant for Pratt was no secret, and that his advice is limited to big-picture international issues. Mr. Abbott did not respond to questions. At the heart of this, we need to get money out of politics. Is that not right?
We need to keep it in check. We need to keep it in proportion.
International editor at the Sydney Morning Herald, Peter Harcher, says Pratt has done nothing wrong by trying to wield influence in Canberra, but he does worry about the perception it creates.
Well, it's not illegal. It's just questionable. It throws into doubt in the public mind the trustworthiness of the entire system. We know that trust in Australian politicians and our political system has been in a long trend of decline, and it's precisely these sorts of cosy relationships where money is exchanged for access that makes people suspicious.
In the United States, it's been reported Anthony Pratt has spoken to the FBI and could be called to give evidence about Donald Trump's alleged mishandling of sensitive information. It's unknown, however, if Mr. Pratt was as effusive to the investigators about Trump as he was on the secret recordings.
And the last thing he said to me as I was getting out of the car of the motorcade, "Don't worry, Anthony, America will protect Australia."
How do you see this tape playing into the US political debate in the near future?
It's simply more ammunition against a man known to be reckless and shows him once again. And remember, Donald Trump has denied any recklessness with national security. And yet here we have again a clear-cut example where he is reckless with foreign intelligence, foreign leaders, military operations to a foreign citizen in exchange for money.
Mr. Pratt posed as a friend and a supporter of Trump during his presidency. We now know a lot more about what Mr. Pratt really thinks about Mr. Trump. If your friends are describing you in such terms, what does that say?
I'm not sure it's fair to criticize Mr. Pratt for taking advantage of the opportunity that Trump presented, but it's a pretty sad commentary that Trump presented the opportunity. And it's this kind of behavior that one by one, maybe it's like water eroding a rock, but we will get to the point where people, I think, do understand Trump is not fit to be president.
We sent questions to Anthony Pratt and Donald Trump, but received no reply. Hello, I'm Nick McKenzie. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. Don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.